Most new players see a support brawler for the first time and immediately think, why would anyone pick this? And honestly, you can't really blame them. When you're sitting in the lobby picking your brawler, and one option is a skeleton playing a guitar who can't really hurt anyone, and the other option is a Frankenstein with a massive hammer, the choice seems pretty obvious. Support brawlers look weak on paper. Their damage numbers are low, their health is average at best, and they don't look anywhere near as cool as the damage dealers. And yet, if you watch any top level game right now, you're going to see them everywhere. So what's going on? That's what we're looking at today. And by the end of this, you will never look at a support brawler the same way again. So let's go back to when Brawl Stars first launched in beta in 2017. The roster was tiny back then, only 15 brawlers in the whole game. And of those 15, there was basically only one that played anything like a support role, and that was Poco. Now, if you don't know Poco, he's this mariachi skeleton who shoots sound waves out of his guitar. His attack spreads out wide, deals not very much damage, and his super heals every teammate in range. That's the whole kit. On paper, he looks terrible. He deals less damage than basically every other brawler. And in a game that was much simpler back then, most players just grabbed the brawlers who hit the hardest and called it a day. The thing is though, those early days of Brawl Stars were very different. There were no gadgets, no star powers, no hypercharges, no gears. You just had your attack, your super, and whatever health and damage your brawler had. So in that environment, everyone is kind of playing the same way. You run at enemies, you shoot them, and whoever deals more damage wins. Poco in that world genuinely looked pointless. Nobody was coordinating with teammates well enough to even make use of his healing. You'd use his super, and your teammates would already be dead or hiding somewhere. So for a long time, Poco just kind of sat there, got picked occasionally, but mostly forgotten. But then something started shifting. Players started getting better. Gem grab became more strategic. Teams started figuring out that the goal wasn't just to win every single fight, it was to stay alive long enough to hold the gems and run out the clock. And that's when Poco started clicking for people. Imagine this. Your team just hit 10 gems and the countdown starts ticking. The enemy team rushes in to kill your gem carrier and reset everything. Your carrier is getting shredded. You drop Poco's super. Your carrier gets a huge chunk of health back. He survives. The countdown hits 0. You win. You didn't outshoot anyone. You outlasted them. And Poco was the whole reason that was possible. That clicked for a lot of players. Healing wasn't just a nice bonus, it was effectively adding more health to your whole team for free. Every heal your opponent couldn't undo was damage they had to deal twice. But Poco wasn't the only support brawler for long. Pam came along in September 2017, and she brought something completely different to the table. Instead of a direct super that heals your team instantly, Pam drops a turret on the ground that continuously heals anyone standing near it. And this sounds simple, but it completely changed the game. You could now anchor an area of the map. Drop Pam's turret on a contested spot, stand on top of it, and unless the enemy team has enough burst damage to outpace the healing, they just can't push you off. Players started using her to control the gem mine in gem grab, basically turning the center of the map into a fortress your team could sit on indefinitely. And then when Hot Zone came out in 2020, a mode entirely built around holding a zone for as long as possible, Pam became an obvious pick almost overnight. Everything that made her annoying in gem grab was now the exact thing the mode was asking for. Now here's where things really started getting interesting. On December 21st, 2019, Supercell added Max to the game, and Max was unlike any support brawler anyone had ever seen before because her super didn't heal anyone, it didn't deal damage, it didn't drop a turret, it gave every teammate nearby a massive speed boost for 4 whole seconds, and people did not understand this at first. Speed? That's the thing her super does? Players tried her, thought she was mid, and moved on. However, the top players started doing something wild. They would pair Max with a tank like Bull or El Primo, and the moment a fight was about to kick off, boom, speed boost. A tank who's already hard to deal with is now moving way faster than the enemy team can react to. He's in their face before they can reposition. The speed boost was changing the tempo of entire matches. When a team needs to grab the ball in Brawl Ball and score, Max pops her super, and suddenly your whole team is sprinting across the map before the enemy can set up a defense. When your gem carrier needs to survive with 10 gems while the countdown ticks, Max pops her super, and they're suddenly untouchable. Speed is one of the most broken things in Brawl Stars, because almost every brawler in the game is balanced around fighting people at the same speed. Take that assumption away, and the whole balance falls apart. Max also had incredible damage, and one of the fastest reload speeds in the game on top of all of that. So she wasn't even giving up much offensive value by being a support. She was pulling double duty. Then, a while later, Byron arrived. And Byron is genuinely one of the most unique brawlers ever designed in this game. His attack fires a long-range dart that does 2 completely different things depending on what it hits. Hit an enemy, and it poisons them, dealing damage over time. Hit a teammate, and it heals them over time. The same button, the same attack, 2 opposite effects depending on your aim. This is insanely powerful because it means Byron is never wasting his ammo. In any given moment, he's either harassing enemies from across the map or he's topping off a teammate who took a hit. He never has to choose between playing offense and support. He plays both at the same time. His super throws a vial that either heals a big area of your team or poisons a big area of enemies all at once, charging back up surprisingly fast. Byron basically broke the usual trade-off of the support role entirely. He also brought another layer on top of that with his melee star power. power, which makes his super cause enemies to receive way less healing for 9 seconds. Suddenly, Byron was also a counter to opposing healers. Your Poco isn't healing anyone if Byron's super just landed on them. So by this point in the game's history, you have Poco turning your team into a sustained, unkillable frontline. You have Pam making entire zones almost impossible to contest. You have Max making your whole team move like they're on turbo. And you have Byron dealing damage and healing at the same time from the backline, while also countering enemy healers. Each of them is bringing something completely different, and none of them are competing with each other for the same thing. And then Gus showed up. Gus looks like a little ghost kid. He throws balloons. He seems adorable and harmless. But every 4 hits he lands on an enemy, he drops a little spirit on the ground that heals any teammate who walks over it. So while Gus is poking enemies from long range, he's simultaneously scattering healing pickups all over the ground around your team. And his super? He throws a shield at a teammate that absorbs a massive amount of incoming damage and knocks nearby enemies back at the same time. 5,200 points of damage absorbed in one shot. His super charges in just 4 hits. He can have it ready again in a matter of seconds. So you're fighting a tank who is getting close to your fragile gem carrier. Gus throws the shield on them, the tank gets knocked back, and your gem carrier survives what should have been a death. That kind of swing is what changes games at high rank. And later, many more support brawlers would come, and they would consistently dominate the meta. So why, at the end of all this, are support brawlers so consistently strong? Let's actually break this down. The most obvious reason is that winning in Brawl Stars is almost never just about dealing damage. It's about holding an area, surviving long enough, scoring a goal, running out a clock. Healing and shielding extend how long your team can contest an objective, which is directly winning the game. A tank with Max's speed boost reaches objectives before the enemy can counter. A team with Poco's heals can hold a zone through sustained pressure that should have killed them twice over. Support brawlers trade raw damage for game-winning utility, and in objective-based modes, utility is usually worth more. The second reason is that supports make every other brawler on your team stronger than they'd be alone. This is the thing that's really hard to quantify but impossible to ignore once you see it. An El Primo with Byron healing him through a fight is not the same El Primo he'd be on his own. He's now absorbing way more punishment than his health bar alone would suggest. He's winning fights he'd normally lose. That's not El Primo being strong, that's the combination being strong. Support brawlers act as a multiplier on everything your teammates do. The third thing is range. The best support brawlers, Byron, Gus, Poco, all have long or at least medium range on their main attacks. So they're not just hiding in the back doing nothing while they wait to drop their super. They're consistently chipping at enemies, charging their supers, and keeping pressure. They're earning their value every second they're on the map. However, this is not everything, because then the Hypercharge system came along and made everything even more ridiculous. Poco's Hypercharge lets his super overheal teammates, giving them a temporary shield on top of their full health bar, so you're not just healing them back up, you're now putting them above their maximum health. Max's Hypercharge throws energy drinks to every single teammate on the entire map, not just the ones standing nearby, boosting everyone's speed. Byron's Hypercharge fires his attack in every direction from the point of impact of his super, which means a single well-placed super is suddenly healing your whole team and poisoning every enemy caught in it simultaneously. Every single one of these Hypercharges amplifies exactly what made these brawlers strong to begin with, and cranks it up so far that landing one at the right moment can flip an entire game. And through all of this, through every balance update, every nerf, support brawlers have survived. Poco has been nerfed repeatedly, his gadget cooldowns extended, his healing reduced. Byron has had his supercharge rate adjusted over and over. Max has gone through constant tweaks. And all of them are still showing up in top-ranked games, still getting picked, still winning. Because the thing that makes them strong isn't a specific number that Supercell can tune away. It's the idea behind what they do. The truth is, every meta-defining tank, every high-trophy carry, every brawler people go crazy over, they're almost always carrying the support brawler that's quietly making them possible. The support brawler isn't the one getting the kills. It's the one making sure your team never loses the fights it should be winning. And that, honestly, is exactly why they're broken.